All right, so we are on section 3.5, day 1, and we're going to talk about another way to graph lines. So last week we talked about graphing with intercepts, finding the x-intercept, the y-intercept, and drawing the line between them. Now we're going to talk about something when they're in a different format. So we have y equals mx plus b. You've seen this before, okay? This is called slope-intercept forms. When you write something in this format, whatever number is here is automatically the y-intercept. And the number in front of x is the slope of the line. All right, we'll talk a little bit more about what slope means, but you need to know that. So what does slope mean? Write this down. Slope, we refer to it with the variable m of a non-vertical line passing through 2 points, is the ratio of rise to run. So slope, we use the variable m, is rise to run. The change in y over the change in x. How much does it change on the horizontal over how much does it change on the vertical? Formula for doing this is y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Make sure you're getting this down. Important to note, these 2's and 1's, these are subscripts. Okay, it's y sub 2, y sub 1. That means the second one minus the first one. It's not an exponent. It doesn't mean y squared. Same thing for the x's. X sub 2, x sub 1. The second one minus the first one. Order is important here as long as you're consistent. Do the second y minus the first y, the second x minus the first x. All right? And that equals the slope. Make sure you sketch this graph. Again, rise is vertical, run is horizontal. So, I want to talk about this real quick. I want you to get this in your notes right next to that stuff. A positive slope, we always read our graphs left to right. So we would say the positive line is going up. It's a positive slope going upwards. Again, you read left to right. A negative slope is going downward. Again, you read left to right. A flat line, a horizontal line, has a slope of 0. It's not rising or falling. Slope is 0. All right? And then, if we have a vertical line, that's an undefined slope. So make sure you get all of this in your notes. So, here we go. So we look here. Sketch this. 3, 2, negative 3, negative 2. What is the rise from this point to this point? Well, we can count. It goes 1, 2, 3, 4. So the rise is 4. What's the run? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So the slope of this line is 4 over 6, and we always want to simplify our slopes, so that's 2/3. All right, the slope here is 2/3. Conversely, I come over this. What's the rise here? Well, it's not a rise, it's falling, but we still call it the rise. So we go, and I go from this point to this point. It's going 1, 2, 3, but it's going 3 down. So that's a negative 3. It's down 3. And then the run, 1, 2, positive 2. We do not ever write slopes as mixed numbers. We'll simplify them. If this was 6 over 4, we'd simplify it, okay? But we're not going to write it as a mixed number. We're always going to keep it improper because of the counting thing. We don't want to have to switch back and forth. So negative 3 over 2, you could write it out front like this. Those mean the same thing. So negative 3 over 2. All right. What if you count backwards. So what if I go from here to here? Now, again, I want you to read these left to right. I want you to go this way. But what if you count backwards? Well, this would be down 4 and left 6. Okay? 2 negatives make positive 2/3. So if you count backwards, you're still going to get to the same answer. But again, I want you to read graphs. Get used to reading graphs left to right, left to right. This is down and right. This is up and right. Okay? Read your graphs left to right. So, describe the slope of the line, find the slope. So, if I have this, I can find the slope by counting. It is down 2, right 5, -2/5. So it's a negative slope. Okay, it's going down, and it is -2/5 for the slope. I can find it just by counting them. Let's say I don't give you a graph. We can count on graphs. That's easy. Let's use the formula here. So the formula y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. All right? So I got the point here, -3, -1, and 3, 3. So it says take the second y minus the first y. The second one is +3. The first one is -1. So it's minus -1. The second x is 3. The first one is -3. So it's 3 minus -3. Second one minus the first one. Again, read left to right. Do math. 3 plus 1 is 4. 3 plus 3 is 6. Simplify. The slope comes out to be 2/3. Now, just to show you, if I count, I'm going 1, 2, 3, 4, up 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right 6, 4 over 6 is 2/3. So, formula, graph, if you don't have the picture, do the algebra. So, what if you have a table? So the points on the verb set by a table, how can you find the slope? Well, in this case, I have to use the formula. So, it's the second one minus the first one. So I work up. 14 minus 20 over 7 minus 4. 14 minus 20 is -6. 7 minus 4 is +3. Simplify. -2 over 1, which is -2, is the slope for this first graph. Now, I should be able to grab any point here and get that same answer. So just to show you, I'll do the second one. 8 minus 14, 10 minus 7. 8 minus 14 is -6. 10 minus 7 is 3. Same answer. So it doesn't matter which two you pick, subtract, you'll get the answer. All right? B, y minus y over x minus x. So if I'm going this way, the second one minus the first one. 1 minus -1. 2 minus 2 is 0 over 2. 0. What kind of line has a slope of 0? So the slope is 0. Remember, this is a horizontal line, flat across. If we look at this graph, the y's are always 2. All right, so if I think about this graphically, -1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 2. It's a horizontal line. Look at it. The y's are all the same. It's right across there. So I got a horizontal line. It makes sense that my slope came out to be 0. Let's take a look at C. 0 minus negative 3. Negative 3 minus 3 minus negative 3. 0 minus negative 3 is 3. Turn that into plus. I get 0 in the denominator. Can you divide by 0? So what is the slope? Slope is undefined. What kind of line gives me an undefined slope? So this is a vertical line. And again, if I look at this graph, negative 3, it's going to be a bunch of points that line up vertically. All right? So find the slope of these two lines. Questions? We already have that in our notes. All right, so we already touched on this. The number in front of m, or the number in front of x is the slope. That is, and then the number out here is the y-intercept. So I can use that information to graph. So I know the slope is 3, the y-intercept is negative 4. When I want to graph this line, I need a starting point. The y-intercept gives me my starting point. It tells me the y-intercept. I don't have to plug in anything. I just know it by looking. Now, here's where the slope comes into play. The slope of this line, I need a fraction because I need a rise and a run here. All right? So this tells me 3 is 3 over 1. So I know my slope is 3 over 1. So we're basically working backwards from that stuff we already had. I know that 3 over 1, that's my rise, that's my run. I'm going up 3, right 1. I can do another one. Up 3, right 1. And that's how you draw a line. Find the y-intercept, move the slope. Let's do it again. I'll do this one. Is that in the same format? Does this match those other problems? Nope, not at all. I got to get the y by itself. So, remember back to chapter 1. I need to get this on the other side of the equation. Add 5x. So the negative y is by itself. These are not like terms, so I can't combine them. I just write them next to each other. Is y by itself? Nope. Divide by negative 1 all the way across, and now that's positive y. That's negative 5x. Sorry. And that's positive 2. Ask questions if this is confusing. We're moving on. I need to graph this. What's the slope? What's the y-intercept? So when I graph this line, I start at the y-intercept and I move the slope. I need a rise over run though, so I need to change that to negative 5 over 1. So that tells me to go which direction first? Down 5. Oops, don't put a dot there. Right 1. Graph the line. We'll do more of this tomorrow. Ask questions. Good luck.